Hello, this is the EUROCOM Raptor X18, and yes, that's a huge 18-inch workstation with gaming capabilities. In contrast, this thing isn't difficult to open. Start by removing the 14 Phillips head screws that hold the bottom cover in place. Then, hold the back exhaust with both hands and pop them simultaneously or one by one. Your wrist should apply slight pressure on the panel, and you have to lift the vents upwards with your fingers. Raise the plate carefully and wiggle it a bit at the front. If this method doesn't work for you, pry the sides where the clips aren't released with a thin plastic tool. The internal side of the bottom panel houses 4 plates that make contact with the SSD thermal pads. Once the panel is off, it's clear this laptop is built to last thanks to its gigantic cooling and rich upgradability. The battery is a large 98 watt-hour model. To take it out, pull down the connector. If the subwoofer on the left gets in your way, remove it first. Undo the top 4 Phillips heads, then raise the front of the unit and slide it to the cooling. The battery life isn't something to write home about. Almost 4 hours of 4K YouTube videos. Maybe we can consider it decent since the hardware is nothing but top-notch. The subwoofer is held in place by 4 screws. Undo them and detach the small connector on the right. When it comes to upgrades, this is true workstation territory. You get 4 SODIMMs that are compatible with up to 256 gigabytes of DDR5, 5,600 RAM, which is the exact setup configured in our laptop. This means 464 gigabyte crucial dual rank sticks. No dedicated thermal pads for them, though. You also have 4 M.2 storage slots at your disposal that fit the regular long 2280 units. The top right slots fit Gen 5 SSDs, while the other 3 slots are for Gen 4 models. In our case, the non-system drives work in RAID 5 mode. RAID 0 and RAID 1 are also supported. All 4 SSDs are additionally cooled by thermal pads on top. There are also smaller pads underneath for the drive's controllers. The system SSD even gets a small metal plate sandwiched between 2 pads. Nice. The Wi-Fi 7 card is replaceable, but it's placed in front of the bottom left slot. This could possibly lead to an unstable wireless connection. On the positive side, I didn't experience such issues. The thermal solution is anchored by 2 fans of different sizes, an 80mm fan for the GPU and a 70mm fan for the CPU. They are working in tandem with 4 sizable heat sinks. A complex setup of 7 copper heat pipes handles the thermal transfer, starting with 2 pipes that are entirely shared between the CPU and GPU, running directly between the fin stacks. An additional upper pipe bridges both chips, but doesn't reach the CPU's heatsink. The GPU, which sits under a larger cooling plate, utilizes 1 dedicated pipe plus a bottom pipe that pulls heat from both the chipset and the GPU VRM. The CPU is also treated with its own dedicated pipe, along with a separate one for its VRM on top. To ensure long-term thermal efficiency, the manufacturer uses PTM 7950 phase change material on both dies, which outperforms standard thermal pastes in both heat conduction and durability. The metal plate for the graphics card is much bigger compared to the one for the processor on the right. It's time for the most curious part, the cooling removal. Let's begin by detaching the fan connectors. 3 screws hold each fan housing in place. Next, remove the 2 sets of 3 screws around the chips and 2 below the chipset metal plate. Carefully pop the thermal system around the fan housings and around the main cooling plates with a lever tool. Here's what that massive cooling setup looks like once it's flipped over. As I mentioned earlier, the processor is on the right, while the graphics chip and its memory modules are on the left. Check out our full review at techpowerup.com.